Review.
Resident Evil fans may well remember Mercenaries mode from Resident Evils 4 and 5. Everybody else, listen up. Mercenaries was a bonus mode in Resident Evils 4 and 5. It was the core third-person shooter action of the game proper, turned into an arcadey, timed, score attack minigame, with the plot and cutscenes and all that narrative stuff stripped out. Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D is that same mode with a new skill system and a bunch of unlockable content offered up as a full-size 3DS game. But has Capcom done enough to turn a bonus minigame into a standalone 3DS title worth your time and money? We'll see. You play as one of a selection of series veterans such as Jill Valentine, Claire Redfield, or her inhumanly bicep brother Chris.
Show yourself!
You're set loose on a smallish map to rack up as many kills as possible before the time runs out. More points are awarded for slaying enemies in quick succession, and precious extra seconds are awarded for smashing time bonus crystals and for up-close finishing moves such as Chris's stomp and Jill's double knee drop. The enemies will be familiar to those who played Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5. They are the monks of the former and the zombified villagers and soldiers of the latter, along with the ever-unnerving Chainsaw Magini and the Executioner Magini, that is, the giant hooded chap with the colossal axe. The 8 maps are likewise lifted from the last 2 games in the series, including an old castle, mine tunnels, and an African village. The controls for combat work well, nicely replicating recent Resident Evil stop-and-shoot action and over-the-shoulder aiming on the 3DS, with the circle pad for movement and the right bumper for popping into a laser-sighted aim view. For the most part, the game looks good too, with detailed character models and scenery. Disappointingly though, it falls down in animating baddies at long range. Look beyond the Magini about to chew your face off and you'll see some distant enemies suffering some stuttery animation. Down on the touchscreen, meanwhile, you'll find the minimap and inventory holding your 2 or 3 weapons, health items and grenades. Audio is passable, though you'll need to use decent headphones rather than the 3DS's speakers to make the sound useful for locating out-of-sight foes. The arcadey score chasing is addictive fun, and the short bite-sized missions make Mercenaries mode a good fit for a handheld console. So for a pick-up-and-play blast of Resident Evil action, the game does deliver, at least for the first few hours. The trouble is the lack of content. The initial offering is of just 5 levels across 8 maps, with a handful of missions in each level, and the unlockables. To get all of those, a dedicated player might keep grinding into the tens of hours, but they aren't really reward enough to recommend the time investment. The complete roster of characters has to be unlocked, as do their alternate costumes by meeting various criteria, finishing a level with all high ranks, for instance. You also need to unlock each character's preset weapons loadout for use by other characters, though these at least you can alternatively buy with 3DS Play coins. In the absence of new baddies and environments, with maps and enemy types not only recycled from earlier games, but also heavily recycled within the game, Mercenaries gets pretty samey pretty fast. In the way of novelty, there is at least a new skill system for customizing characters to a degree. These skills level up with use, and each character has 3 skill slots. The Luck skill ups resistance to instant kills, for example, and Medic makes health sprays more effective. The medal system, on the other hand, mostly feels like busy work, included to make the scant content go farther. You unlock one of the 50 medals for playing every map more than once, for instance, and one for completing a mission without using the quick turn move. The game's duo mode, thankfully, is more than cheap padding. Most missions can be played in 2-player co-op, either over the internet or a local connection. Resident Evil 5's clunky inventory sharing is gone, neatly replaced with just the ability to heal your co-op partner, and there are kicks, also high scores and SS ranks, to be had in producing huge chains of kills via a shared combo counter. The online functionality stops at cooperative play though. With the game's laser-like focus on high scores, its lack of online leaderboards is a frustrating omission. Maintaining a respectable spot on a global board might have been the one thing to keep some players coming back for more. The strong co-op mode offsets the disappointing general shortage of content, but not completely. As a full-price 3DS title, this is a poor deal for a cash-strapped gamer, and should you drain it dry down to the last unlockable drop, it's not as though you can start over, what with the single undeletable save file for which Capcom has caught so much flack. Mercenaries is as fun and compelling a minigame as it ever was, built on the rock-steady foundation of Resident Evil combat, but it's still a minigame, unfortunately, however padded out with unlockables and recycled material.
Yeah.